Welcome to another edition of Up the Middle. I'm your host, Yergz. So, we've got a lot to talk about today. One of which is a former coworker of mine, Dan Bongino. You know him probably from Fox News. And now, if you know that he hasn't actually disappeared as he should have, he has his own podcast called, creatively enough, The Dan Bongino Show. We're going to be talking about him, and I'm going to tell you why he's a lying piece of shit. So I'm just going to tell you about what he does and quick rant, quick heads up, quick reason why you probably don't want to follow him. I encourage you always to do your own homework and to take as much information in as possible. The problem with his so-called information is that it's not information. He lies. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Then after that, that's why I'm in red, by the way. I usually don't wear red and I don't wear blue. In case you are we've got a bunch of new members to the audience, viewers, listeners, whatever. The whole album cover that is the podcast cover, that's all Illuminati. Like there's all kinds of signs in there. I mean, red and blue makes purple. So that's why the lettering is in purple. That's why so much of the other stuff is in purple. Um, we've got the American flag as a backdrop as promised. Hopefully you heard my Spotify commercial if you're in any of those markets where that's playing, or you're going to soon see me on a grocery cart in the DC and Rehoboth Beach areas. Be on the lookout for that. But more importantly, flying behind me and in the border around our screen is the American flag. And you see in black, because it's kind of a more neutral and definite color, hashtag take back the flag. It seems as though the far right has used that as like their battle flag, and that's not what it is. The American flag is for everyone. It represents the country. And for those using it as, like I said, as a battle flag, that's not yours. It's not what that's for. So I now fly an American flag outside. Right now it's aside, properly displayed, contrary to what some of the military knuckleheads will think. And that's not that, military are all knuckleheads. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's in so many different demographics, there is that fringe element from the far right, which is, by the way, fascist. And we'll talk about that in the viewer mail, that think that their way is the only way. And when I had this background flying, this is the one from the White House during the Pride events hosted by President Biden. And he took all kinds of shit, mostly from military people, about the American flag not being in the center, which it actually is. You just have to expand the photo. And the progress flag, that pride flag with the additional trans colors in it, is called the progress flag. It's flanked by the American flag at an equal level. That is actually okay. If you know the law, not your individual policy on how to be in a parade or post a flag for some sort of event that is your protocol. Behind me, you see the actual law. Because if you would expand that photo, you would see that there is another American flag in that same photo, and it's on top of the building, right above, immediately above those flags that were hanging in from the Roosevelt balcony overlooking the South Lawn. So anyway, what we're doing here at Up the Middle is taking back the flag. Hashtag take back the flag is for everyone. It is not for any fringe element. It is not for just you. It is not to be flown upside down. It is not to be burned unless it's a ceremony that is getting rid of a damaged and retired flag. Yeah, that is our new border that you see around your TV screen. You see up here, it's being released soon. Yergz.com is the website. Over here is where some of the places where you can find us and subscribe. So you get, we're no longer going to be just Wednesdays. We're going to be a couple times a week now. We're no longer live. I think doing this like this in a recorded environment for the time being is just going to put out a better product. And that's what we're here for. So let's talk about Danny Boy. There he is. Dan Bongino. Here is the shtick on him. Got his start in life as an adult, as an employee with the NYPD. Did fine there. Didn't reset the world. He's not certainly not the commissioner, so he didn't do that great. Neither one of us did. We both moved on to the Secret Service, and that's where I met Dan at the 2002 Olympics. Dan Bongino is for Dan Bongino. We at the Secret Service laughed at him while we were all at the Secret Service. He likes to tell you about his career at Fox News, which is not earth-shattering. What he skips is when he ran for Congress in Maryland and got his he just did a tweet making he's a conservative. And don't worry, there are some liberals whose balls I'm going to bust as well. But like I've been saying through this season, the Republicans are keeping me a little busy. Uber right, like this knucklehead, are keeping me a little busy. And that's a decent picture of him, and that's because that's how we roll here. I'm not gonna, do one of those, pictures, find a bad picture of somebody that I'm trash talking. No, I'm gonna, represent as fair as possible. Oh yeah, decent enough picture. That's from. I mean, he's got to approve it. That's from his artwork for his show. So I guess he's okay with it. um, Whatever. Um, we laughed at him when we were all at the Secret Service. We laughed at him when he got his ass handed to him running for Congress in some, I guess it's where he still lived when he was in the DC area, because he left in about, I think, 2016 from the Secret Service, and maybe a little before, I'm not sure. But eventually went on the Trump train, as you already know, probably. And I'm just going to say it, pretty much motherfucked the Obamas hard. And that's what I never liked, was that grew a following, from within the Secret Service, because there's a certain conservative element in the law enforcement community. They're not the only ones. But when I was remotely supportive of Hillary or the Obamas, I wasn't part of the team. I wasn't one of the cool guys, because maybe I actually did some research into how I got a career in law enforcement in the first place. It was from Bill Clinton, whose crime bill allowed the North Coventry Township Police Department in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, shout out to my boys there, to pay for a part-timer like me to go to the police academy. I didn't pay to go to the police academy, as you do in some small northern town police departments. You pay yourself, like you're going to another semester of college. I didn't do that. I was big city style. North Coventry hired me, sent me to the academy, paid me while I was there, and I did well. And I screwed shit up by a year into it, leaving for the Secret Service. But Dan left in about 15 or 16, whenever, ran for Congress. He never tells you that, because, like his most recent tweet where he talks down on President Biden, he says how the Supreme Court spanked him. Well, that's what the voters of Maryland did when he ran for Congress. And he did it, I guess, in a somewhat conservative area where he thought he was going to win, and didn't. So he moves to an even more conservative area right here in Florida, and apparently got his ass handed to him. Oh, yes, spanked, to use his words, again. And that's when he used whatever connections he had to become a talking head on Fox, where we continued to laugh at him. But then we giggled like school children when he got his own show. We're all looking, I'm not kidding you, this actually happened. We're all looking around at each other one day in the Washington field office in what's called the operations center. Shout out to my boys and girls there. And we're looking at each other going, "Wow, we got a career ahead of us. If this guy, Danny Boy, can get on Fox, maybe any one of us can get on a real network." And so we laughed about that, but then I said that we giggled like school children because the show that he gets, not like opposite Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow. He's one time a week. I can't keep a straight face now. He's been fired for 3 months. It's one time a week on Saturday night. Not even Saturday. Saturday night, when we're all sitting at home watching the news, because nobody would rather watch Saturday Night Live or the NFL or the NHL or Major League Baseball or basketball or anything else. We want to sit around and watch Dan Bongino on a Saturday night. So, fast forward through my career, and I had been watching Fox and CNN because, let me face it, the Secret Service is federal law enforcement, but we're still members of the intelligence community. And I always accepted. I'll tell you a network I miss is Al Jazeera America. They didn't give a shit. And they told it really much more how it was. Fox, on the other hand, I remember this. This actually happened. That's why I got to tell it to you. I get home from an event. Don't remember if it was Obama or Romney. But I get home from an event and I see on the news the event as being covered by Fox. So I watch and I'm amazed. I'm floored because it's nothing how the real event was. And this is the part that, actually had to happen for me to be able to tell you about it right now. I actually went back and called some of my fellow post standers and said, "Who did you see the press riser? Who was covering the event from Fox News today?" Yeah, it was that guy or that girl or whoever, because this happened multiple times for years about how much that network lied. And this guy, Danny Boy, was at the front of it. And Tucker was the other one. But the network was really about caution. You're about to enter the get your ass dizzy zone from their spin. Little play on Bill O'Reilly's thing before he got fired. Yeah, it's either lying or sexual misconduct. That's how you roll at Fox. So Danny Boy gets his ass fired. 2 days later, Tucker Carlson follows suit. And now they're back doing whatever. I do check in with Danny Boy because I wanted to see him do better. For as much as, he was your basic New Yorker, big personality, probably stop there. I want to see him do well, but he never learned. He lied on Saturday nights. And I get it. He's a conservative, so of course he's going to say his thing is for Twitter. He'll tweet today's date and follow it up with, "And Joe Biden is the worst president in US history." Okay. Dude, were you asleep from 2017 to 2021? Did you see the stats your boy ranked in 4 years less than? Because dude knows he checked out after started running for re-election and saw the writing on the wall, admit it though he failed to do. So He tweets that every day. And I get, you got to gaslight. That's how you're going to get anything when you got nothing else. I get that. Well, I don't get it. I don't get it, actually. Um, unless your viewers, I know this meme was debunked, but from the first time that Trump ran, there was this photo of him apparently on Oprah, screenshot of him on Oprah, saying about how that if he were to ever run for president, it would be as a Republican because they're stupid vote, yada, yada, yada. They're stupid voters. Well, that might actually be true. The far right wing of them anyway. And I don't think all Republicans are. Romney's got his supporters. He's decent. Christie, Cheney. I just think that this fringe element is too loud. And it looks bigger than what it really is. I just talked to some today, neighbors who had been all about Trump when I moved here 2 years ago. They want nothing to do with him anymore. And DeSantis, that lying piece of shit, is the same way. They're laughing at him, literally. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, too. So, Danny Boi, I wanted to see him do well. And, he just into Saturday night, and now, it's lie after lie and spin after spin. And this is probably going to turn out to be another series because this coming week, we're actually going to wrap up Hunter Biden versus Jared Kushner. We're going to do part 3 on that and wrap that up. And basically, I think the Republican and the Trump family, Trump ain't going to be the only one indicted. I don't know that Jared is going to be in as much trouble, but he's as dirty. And you'll learn about that in coming episodes. That's it. I'm sick talking about this goofball. Let's talk about some viewer mail. We've got, it's actually not mail, but you can do that. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up, Yergz at yergz.com, or, go to that website right there. There's a placeholder now, but I'm guessing in the next week or two, that website's going to be really all inclusive. It's going to have, you're going to be able to get the show from it. You're going to see where I'm going to appear once I start doing the speaking engagements. Subscribe today, over here on the left side of your screen. That is actually, you're going to actually be able to do that from the website. It's going to be like, if you know what Linktree is, there's going to be a whole page with everywhere where you can follow my social media and so on and so forth. Yada, yada, yada. Don't forget, take back the flag. And we're also using another one, not right, not left. Hashtag not right, not left. So also check out our sponsors, acrebrandfarms.com. That's from Will. And aromabypeter.com/Yergz. Those candles are amazing. Just, get candles from dude. Hey, gang. This episode had a lot of information, so for your convenience, we split it into 2 parts. This ends what we got to say on Dan Bongino, at least for today. Stay tuned for viewer mail.